Today we move into a world entirely different, all about measurements. 12 inches in a foot. Why? Why 12? Who decided what an inch was, or indeed what a foot was? Is it a standard foot? Whose foot was it? Well, let's find out with Dr. Peter Burke, who is the chairman of the UK Metric Association. I did not know there was such a thing. Hello to you, Dr. Peter. And
hello,
welcome
hi,
to
Vic.
the show.
How are you?
Hello, and congratulations on being chair of the UK Metric Association. So tell me about the inch and the foot thing, because where do we start, with an inch or with a foot?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello, Vic. How are you doing? Yeah, so I think in answer to your question, there are two questions really. The more important one is not so much why do we use feet and inches, but why are we still using them now that we have a much better alternative. And as you probably know, the Metric Association is there to promote the cause of rational units divisible by 10. But let's talk about feet and inches, because you had a lady on your show a few weeks ago talking about shoe sizes. And of course, most people will say, well, a foot's a hell of a long distance for a human foot. But both the foot and the inch are derived from human dimensions. So the king's foot would have been deemed to be 12 inches long. And the inch is derived from the width of your thumb, allegedly. And I must say, my thumb is nothing like that big, but somebody must have had one that size at one time. And I think, as your foot specialist said, the standardization of this started with Edward II in the 14th century, but it wasn't actually fully standardized until 1824, before which time every place had its own imperial measures. So you might say, why 12? Well, I think 12 is a number that people found in its day to be a convenient number to use. You know that 12 is divisible by 6, 4, 3, and 2, which means it has more factors than most numbers, but most numbers of that size. And so people found it handy to work with when that mattered. And of course, as you know, 12 is a number we come across quite often, like how many pence in a shilling, how many months in a year, how many hours of daylight, how many apostles, how many jurors, and so on. It goes on and on. But it's not the number that actually matters in modern society. The number that matters is 10, because we decided long ago that 10 was the way we would count. We use a decimal system. We use decimal currency. We've got 10 fingers, and that's how it started. And part of our mission in the UK Metric Association is to make people realize that 10 is an ideal number to work with.
Listen, I can hear how excited you are about number 10s, but today we are on the topic of the feet and the inch.
Well,
now, so the original, what came first, the foot or the inch? Because I think that's the crucial point here, because the foot, doesn't that supposedly go back to the time of Nero?
Yeah, and I mean, the inch goes back to Roman times as well. The inch is derived from Latin originally. I mean, it's interesting when people talk about British measures. They actually all measures go back before that, and even in weights, we talk about avoir du poids, which is a French word. Pounds and ounces are not a British measure. What I would say to you, however, being from the UK Metric Association, is that the metric system is a British invention. So it started in 1668 with John Wilkins, with the Oxford professor, and the rest is history. And I mean, my main message for people is that we're one of the very few countries in the world that still use feet and inches. Most young people, although they might well know their height in feet and inches, don't use that for most purposes. They are well used to, for example, using metric for running, for sport, as well as in science, medicine, engineering, and so on. And that I would say is the way of the future, and that's what we're focusing on. I would say to your listeners, if you're interested in learning more, UK Metric Association has lots of information about these things. You can go online to ukma.org.uk, and it's all there.
Okay, listen, thank you very much indeed for joining us then to Dr. Peter Burke, chair of the UK Metric Association. So a foot is the length of a foot but that belonged to Emperor Nero, allegedly, and the ancient Egyptians thought that an inch was based on the width of someone's thumb. I thought an inch was supposed to be from the knuckle of your thumb to the tip. Anyway, that's like... Mum always used to measure that when she was, like, doing sewing or something. She'd just use a thumb for a little rudimentary measurement. But no significance in the number 12. Right then, we move on with the question for tomorrow, and it comes from Jess. Thank you very much indeed for getting in touch. Why do most bank holidays fall on a Monday? They do, don't they? Unless it's Christmas or Boxing Day. Even Easter sort of has been standardised, so it happens over weekend. We'll find out all about bank holidays on the show tomorrow. And if you've got a question you would like to know, learn of the ultimate radio-based learning resource, now is your chance to get in touch. Email viconair@bbc.co.uk.
The sound of the Sky Blues.